Hello, my sexy muffins, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be doing a quick, small one of the ages of my costumes. Now, the five main costumes I've had were actually witches and a witch costume and a mummy costume, pumpkin, vampire, and nurse. Now, witches were my main costume. I love dressing as a witch. It was my bread and butter. I was obsessed with the Harry Potter stuff when I was a kid before I knew she was transphobic, but I loved the witches stuff and I wore that costume almost every single year. The few years I did not wear them, I had the mummy nurse and 1 year vampire and also a lot of years pumpkin. That was before I could choose my costume. When I was a little baby, we had like these small baby to toddler size pumpkin costumes, so you could wear that, and it was like just a little cap and a jack-o'-lantern with sleeves so the baby stays warm and stuff and the toddler stays warm. We had a couple of those and we would just hand me down those and wear them while we were small and young, so we stayed warm and we were still dressed up for Halloween when the older siblings went out trick-or-treating and stuff. So that's what I started off as, the pumpkin. I do not have any pictures, and I wouldn't probably not show pictures if I had them. Side tangent. When my dad passed away, one of my older siblings stole all the baby pictures and stuff that had my dad in them in the house, ransacked them, and we barely now have any childhood photos because of that. That was my half sister. So yeah, frick you, won't say her name, but anyways, so that was that. Anyways, after that, I would dress up in a small witch's costume every single year until I wanted to do 1 year. I wanted to do a mummy, and my mom took some old, well, they were damaged. The plastic on the container for the bandages at the nurse's station was damaged, so all the bandages were going to get thrown out. She knew this a couple of weeks ago when I told her I wanted to be a mummy, and she stopped them from. She offered to take them out and instead of throwing them away in the dumpster behind the emergency room. She ended up deciding to keep them and to have them so I could have an authentic mummy costume. She also used tea to soak some of the bandage in and make it look like it was a really worn out mummy costume, which I loved. It took forever to get that on, though. Honestly, I was laying on the coffee table while my mom did my legs because it took forever to get on and off because I wore just my clothes under it. But it took forever to get on. That was when the mummy costumes with real bandages are, because you have to use safety pins and such. It's just that it's not the best costume if you are going with bandages from the hospital type thing. Not the best costume. And it was really hard to get off because I had to unwrap layers and layers because I didn't want my clothes to show through. So my mom did like multiple layers of it. So, oh my God, going to the bathroom and that was the worst thing ever. Anyways, and a few years after that, after another couple years of being witch costume, but then I grew out of the witch costume and said, I want to be a vampire because I was obsessed with the plastic fangs that came every Halloween. And I was like, I want to do a vampire costume. It was just a cheesy cape and all black clothes, super edgy type thing, but I loved it. And it was a minimalist costume that worked very well. And I loved it because I got really good plastic fangs that I wore like 6 months straight after that to school and everything. And then I went back to witch's costume for a year or two. I can't remember fully. But then I was too big for my witch's costumes, the bigger ones my mom got. So, and this was like when I was 12, because 13 is the last year you can go trick or treating. And last year I went trick or treating. But 12, we were going, since my mom had work and my parents were getting separated, I couldn't go out trick or treating to houses. So instead, we went to the church trunk or treat thing. And I was dressed in the nurse scrubs that were from my grandmother, that were when she was, because she was very petite and small and short. So I was able to wear scrubs because honestly, my mom could not afford brand new costumes for all of us, and we were all growing out of the hand me down old costumes. So I instead had to where the nurse scrubs for my grandmother. It was a good way to get it because I had my grandmother's old stethoscope, a nurse cap, and nurse's scrub, so I legit looked like a nurse. So it when you're broke, you make it work with what you can get, and honestly, it worked, and I felt good about it, and I didn't feel like I was in something that was embarrassing. So honestly, good to my mom on that. And then finally, last year was the last Witches year. I was kind of over the whole costume thing, even though I now love cosplaying and stuff. But I basically just threw on a black dress. Very, love my little black dresses. You always should have a solid black dress, just personal opinion. Male, female, non binary, whatever. I think everyone can rock a little black dress. And I had it, it was long and it had a slit up one of the legs. Loved it. It made me feel really good at 13, and it was just up to my knee, not all the way up to my thigh. Just don't get that twisted. And a witch's hat, which was just a Dollar General or Family Dollar witch's hat, plastic, cheapo, and the old witch's broomstick that looked very effective. And I remember that Halloween because I kept doing it. I had a really good witch's laugh at that age, and I did it at the end of everyone's house. It was so cool and eerie when you hear it echo in the night. Loved it. So those were the eras of my costumes. Those were like the five costumes I wore. 1 year, 2 years because just couldn't fit into costumes and had to make do, and also the mummy one, which was way too much work for little gain, and the witch's costume, which was my classic. Which, if you've seen my profile pic, which will be the image throughout this whole thing, it is that I love spooky stuff. I love the spooky stuff, and that spooky stuff loves me. So I do spooky stuff every single year because Halloween is my favorite holiday and I absolutely love it. And I love dressing up in costumes now. I still do jack o' lanterns, I do all that stuff, love it. And it's the best thing for me. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed this. If you would like to see more, comment below what you would like to see and all that good stuff. I do have a question for you though. What was your favorite costume to wear during Halloween and all that stuff? That was your favorite costume to wear and have on during the holidays, or and what costume do you wish that you would have done that you wish you could have done when you were a kid? I wish I could have done cosplay as a kid because that would have been like my dream. Because a couple of years when I was like 11, 10 something, I really wanted to do a Naruto cosplay, but I just couldn't afford it. And I got one of those plastic Naruto headbands from the dollar store, and I loved it and wanted to do a Naruto cosplay, but I didn't have anything, so I couldn't do it. So really bummer about that. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed this. If you would like to see more, comment below what you would like to see and all that good stuff. And stay sexy, all my sexy muffins, and happy spooky season. What is your favorite candy that secret outro time, secret outro time, secret outro time, sorry. What is your favorite candy to have during Halloween? Mine has been Three Musketeers from beginning to end. I have to be careful with chocolate candy now because I have onset adult allergies, so I'm allergic to peanuts and such. So I cannot have anything with nuts, and a lot of chocolate bars are made in the same factories as peanuts, so I run the risk of getting slight peanut allergy if I eat certain chocolate bars, because like Hershey's bars are all made in the same factory, and some have nuts in them. So I do run the risk that I could get an allergy, so I rarely eat chocolate bars. I stick more to gummy candies and sour candies. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed and stay sexy on my sexy muffins. Bye bye.